Okay, so one more quick video here before the papers start to fly in from y'all. Just covering some of the technical stuff that shouldn't get in the way, but if I'm not specific about it, things don't go quite so smoothly. I never want to be a burden and authority, but there are certain the reasons why I have these requirements may not be obvious immediately, but from the point of view of just keeping my workflow smooth, it's necessary, and it also enables us to get more out of the editing that I do on your papers, and that's, as I've said repeatedly, where the rubber meets the road around here. So a few things. First of all, the easy things, although past versions of the class have not necessarily found this easy for some reason, is file naming. And I gave you a format to use for the PDFs you send me. I also suggest you adopt a similar format for your own use moving forward if you haven't already. For things you turn in, the format's always the same. It's it's PolSci, all capitals, POLSCI 377 underscore your last name. If your last name is Martin, just Martin. Underscore the due date, which I will provide you with. And it doesn't matter if you hand in a day early, hand in a day late. If I say the due date is 11 April and you hand it in on 10 April, you still say 11 April on the file. If you hand it on 12 or 15 April, you still say 11 April on the file. And then after another underscore, there'll be the name of the writing, which will be Article 1, 2, or 3, and then Major Project 1, 2, 3, or op-ed, or speech, or whatever other assignment. But I'll always tell you what file name to use. You're never going to have to guess. You just have to insert your own last name into the file name I give you, and then everything goes to plan. That works better for me in terms of my directories. I can find things quickly. That's why that's necessary. Other stuff we have to do. We've got to get everyone on Microsoft Word, and probably half of you, at least most of you, probably already have it, and that's fine. If you don't, you're going to have to get it. I don't take stuff from Google Docs. I don't mess around with that. Again, it's more work for me. Better that you take care of it now at the front end instead of me all throughout the semester having to chase around to take care of the work you're handing in. So you don't have to pay anything for that. You go to the UMass IT site. They have software available. You just UMass Information Technology has a software button. You check in there. There's Microsoft Office 365 Education. You click there. It gives you a little rundown on how to load it into your computer. It'll work for Mac, it'll work for PC. If you really legitimately are a Linux person, talk to me. Had that problem once in a couple of hundred students. I used to run Linux myself. It's a pain, but it has some upsides, so I understand if you do it. But most of you are going to already be Windows and have it, or Mac and have it. But if you need to load it on, then here's where you do it. Again, going to your UMass IT site, it's free. It's not that difficult to get done. If you have trouble, there's a number you can call from off campus, and they'll help you to get it loaded on. Once you have that done, you can then use Grammarly, which is, I've mentioned it before, it's a software that loads on your computer. It will help you to edit things. It's very useful because rather than just pointing out mistakes, it also has information about why it's a mistake, and you can learn through using it. Now, there's a free version, which is what I require people to get. There's also a pay version, which I don't discourage people from getting, but I don't require either. Once you get this, it'll ride on top. It'll work with your emails. It'll work with other assignments you do. If you enter something on social media on the internet, it'll catch mistakes there. It's way better than the checker that's on Word already. Way better. Now, it doesn't catch everything, and some of the things it catches aren't actually mistakes, but by and large it's much better. And it really, once I required students to start using it, it greatly reduced the number of errors, small errors, that I had to deal with when I was working on paper. So when you send me a document, it's going to be a properly named file, a Word file. I'll be looking at it in Grammarly. If I find errors on it that Grammarly is catching, that your Grammarly should have caught, I'm going to assume either you don't have Grammarly or you don't care. And you don't want to be caught in either of those positions. So give them the right file names, get Microsoft Word, run it on Grammarly, everything works out just fine. The last thing is, you're going to get your comments back from me. I'm going to take your Word document after I've checked it through Grammarly, and then I'm going to turn it into a PDF and send it back to you with PDF comments, which are easier for you to read. But in order to read it properly, you've got to get Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. If you're using some native software to read your PDFs, then you won't be able to see my comments necessarily. Some of them will be cut off. I have this problem with students every semester, and it drives me crazy when somebody comes to me 3/4 of the way through a semester and says they can't read my comments. Well, what were you doing for the first 8 weeks with my comments? I'm inclined to ask. In any event, when you download Adobe Acrobat, also the free version, that's all. You don't need Adobe Acrobat Reader Pro, just the DC free version. Make sure you're at an Adobe website. Don't get it from File Hippo or some such nonsense like that. Make sure you're on Adobe. And the other thing is, you see, this is what the Adobe download page looks like. In the middle, they have optional offers. Make sure you don't have either of those checked. You're going to end up with like McAfee Security, which is basically a virus on your computer. It's a pain in the ass to get rid of it. Also, don't get unless you run Chrome. I'm on this computer as my work computer. I don't use Chrome. I would I would just go with the clean version. Then you take the PDF, put it on the desktop of your computer, and open it using Acrobat, and you can see all the comments. In any event, it's a tiny little file, 105 MB, super light, super quick to download it. Just make sure, double sure, you have these not checked. If you have a Mac, I've done this for tons of people with their Macs. You don't even get these optional offers for Macs. I seem to only go with the PCs unless something changed in the last couple weeks. But just be double sure that you've unchecked all the boxes, or else you're going to end up, with some crap that we're going to have to figure out how to scrape off your computer. So that's the plan. I'll come back to you here. You gotta, if you don't already have it, get Microsoft Word. Set up Grammarly on your computer. Again, this is all free. Go to Adobe, get Adobe Reader. And lastly, use the correct file name. So you're going to send me on the assignment that's coming up on the 26th, I think it is, Friday. You're going to, the one pager from the template that you have, and it's single spaced. You want to be as close to the format that I gave you as possible, right? The whole part of the exercise is to make it so it's exactly the same. Part of life's a reading comprehension test, part of life's is a follow directions test. So I'm asking you, I'm directing you, try to make it exactly like the samples I give you. Use bold where the bold is, spacing where the spacing is, do the tabbing, the alignment the way it's done on those. Yeah, so the 3 article summaries are single space. They're the only single space work we do this semester. After that, for the actual project, for the op-ed, for the speech, for all the other stuff, we go to double space. You have to do a resume. You probably already have one on your computer, I would hope, at this point. That's obviously not double spaced. But for the actual writing assignments we do, those are going to be double spaced down the road. But for now, you're sending me one page, single space, following the template as a Microsoft Word document that's been run through Grammarly, and then you give it the correct file name, send it to me. I'll send it back to you as a PDF. You can read it using Adobe Reader. Everything's beautiful. Everything goes to plan, and yeah, it all works out. I have to say too, I mean, I assume with this class, I don't assume, I know this is the most useful and important class you're going to take at UMass, because you're going to keep writing for the rest of your life. Knowledge is transmitted differently in different classes, and what's in here is really, it's critical knowledge. It's a toolkit class. Some people don't like the writing class, they resent having to take it. That's not the right approach. You got to dig your teeth into this and really get a lot out of it, because it's going to pay big, big dividends in the future. I take that as an absolute article of faith. I'll keep selling that right on down the line. No apologies. And I also work from the assumption that if you're taking this class, you're taking it because you want to do well, and you're going to pay attention to detail. So I shouldn't have to drive herd on people. It should be, it is in your best interest to put in real effort here and do your best work. When we're done, you'll have a paper that will be an original work product. It'll been polished multiple times. It should be the strongest piece of writing you ever did at UMass, and unless you're doing like an honors thesis or something, it may be the best thing you do the whole time here. This should be your writing sample moving on. So there's a lot really here. I know people have gotten internships and jobs because of the writing samples they've gotten out of my classes. It works, and follow the program, and you're going to see the dividends. You're going to see the gains. So that's where we're at. I'll stop running my mouth. You've got writing to do. You got possibly some software to set up. Again, keep in mind, got to get the file names right. Got to get Microsoft Word running so that you can work Grammarly. Send it to me in the right format, a properly named Word file. I turn it into a PDF. You look at it using Adobe Reader. You can see all my comments, and we're off to the races. All right, thanks.